African National Congress in the capital city. And we must display an attitude of principled comrades. All of you are important here, comrades. And I think it's important that you understand your role here as delegates. You are here to discharge a constitutional mandate which is coming from your branches. When we are here, let's make sure that we explore all areas of the business of conference. Like I said earlier or yesterday, that comrades, it will be an indictment on us if we are not going to be part of the commissions. We've got a disturbing history of recent times. From 2017, the National Conference of the National Executive Committee couldn't conclude its business. And that became a cancer to all subsequent conferences. The Provincial Conference of Gauteng didn't conclude its business. The Regional Conference of Tshwane read the declaration after conference. I'm trying to demonstrate that we might be preoccupied by electing the new leadership, but we must give them mandate. If we elect, we don't give them mandate, then they don't have anything to account for. It's like what is called freestyling. I'm elected today, but I don't have a mandate. And then I'll do as I please. And then nobody can blame me. Comrade. When we leave the conference, there must be resolutions which are watertight, which tells the leadership what they must do. And that mandate must be executed with timelines. Comrades, we are under siege at the African National Congress. I don't want to lie and hide. The research are telling us that there's a likelihood that we might drop below 30%, and actually we'll be hovering around 25% if we don't change how we conduct ourselves. It's a research which is empirical, which is thorough, and actually it's not only a single research. We got 4 researches, 2 from the African National Congress, 2 from the reputable companies, and they are consistent, they are transversal, and they agree. In 2024, just on the eve of elections, we received another research, stubborn faith. Members of the African National Congress, do this and this and this, and if you are not going to do this, you'll get 33%. We got 33%. And all the comrades in the social media, they were saying, these are negative companies, they hate the ANC. On the 29th of May, that was confirmed. And he told us now that there's a likelihood of us descending to 25%. I don't want to be part of that history, comrades. I don't want to be part of that history. We've got capacity and capabilities to change the tune. So, from this conference, let's demonstrate maximum discipline. How do we start that? You start it in plenary. Your attitude, your articulation, your debate and engagement must demonstrate that this is a comrade coming from the ANC that have lost power. And they regret all the things that they have done and they want to change. Unfortunately, where we reside is called Tshwane. It's the academic hub of the country. All universities that we have in the country are housed here. We're not talking to stupid people here. You can't lie to them. They read, they analyze, and they respond. So whatever you do, you must be considerate of the fact that you are not residing in an ordinary city. You are residing in the capital city. I've seen that we are active in social media. We mutate and retweet things that doesn't assist the organization with anything. Each and every morning, we come across Julius Malema. Julius Malema is not part of the ANC anymore, comrades. Can we accept? And actually, Julius Malema is the enemy of the organization. In 2016, he demonstrated. He voted with the DA and plunged our community and subjected them to 8 years of drought in terms of services. Can we stop that, comrades? Can we speak about our own and celebrate the work that we are doing? There are comrades you can see all the time. They've got a wild energy of attacking ANC leadership. Comrades, the minute we postpone cleansing and sanitizing our membership and get rid of the sleeping partners, is the time that we will recover. But as long as we are harboring them in our portals, in our groups, they are going to do a huge blow into our electoral fortunes. So, the person has chosen another party. You remain here. There's no political relationship that must be sustained in the process. It can't be, comrades. So as we start with our program, I want to again acknowledge our leadership which is here, and we truly appreciate your presence here, PTT members. Comrade or National Executive Committee, Comrade Diana Pule. Oh, Supranero. Mukotso waka. Mahuma Pilu. Away to Arun. Comrade Poli, our doctor. Are they the only National Executive Committee members? Okay, let's go to the PTT. Let me start with our convener, Comrade Mzi Kumalo, the spokesperson of the PTT and the convener of deployees in Tshwane. Comrade Joy Piri. Comrade Brenda Mahuma. Comrade Jane Mananiso. Malibongwe. Comrade Tulani Gajeni. Comrade Joyce Boshomani. Walatelang bar tshwanderelo ke le bra mohare. Comrade Lolo Bra Ditshego. Comrade Mbali Hlophe. Comrade Rifile Mohale. Ele o alatelang argelo ke le uom before ke olela ka ena. Ke le bana ke lo ke le uom before comrade or after comrade. So a ke itse ke ta ikhetela o tla mpharisha morao. Comrade Uom Beginkosi. Let me appreciate and acknowledge again the officials of the RTT, Comrade Bushielo, Comrade Regional Coordinator George Machila, Comrade Deputy Coordinator, Comrade Sweetwell Manana, Comrade Simpiu Mbata, our regional fundraiser, yeah, comrades, we want to apologize for starting late. There are many factors that have disrupted our program. but I'm going to allow Comrade George to take us through the program of the day. We had litigations which needed our attention so that we can respond appropriately and on time. So we were doing that in the morning. We didn't foresee that it will take us time. But here we are, comrades. We are proceeding with the conference. I'll come and deliver the political overview of our entire term in office. Mata! Iya ANC, iya ANC, iya itshwane, iya itshwane, iya itshwane ya rona, iya kukupala le shutele ngitsene. Ishutelele ngitsene, iya ishutelele ngitsene, iya itsene, iya he iya oh iya itshwane, iya itshwane, iya itshwane ya rona, he iya oh iya itshwane, iya itshwane, iya itshwane ya rona, kopana le sutelele itsene, au isutelele itsene, iya au isutelele itsene, iya au isutelele, iya oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane ya rona, oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane ya rona. Kopala le shutela please. Ishutelele ngitsene, oh ishutelele ngitsene, oh ishutelele, yeah, ishutelele ngitsene, yeah, ishutelele ngitsene, oh ishutelele, twela mona le shutela, yeah, ishutelele. Isutelele ngitsene, au isutelele ngitsene, au isutelele ngitsene, yeah, oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane ya rona. Oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane ya rona. Ishutelele iya, oh ishutelele itsene, oh ishutelele itsene. Iya itshwane, iya itshwane, iya itshwane ya rona. Oh iya itshwane, oh iya itshwane, iya itshwane ya rona. Isutelele ngitsene, isutelele ngitsene, isutelele ngitsene. Thank you very much, comrades. Ralebucha. I'm going to hand over to the regional coordinator to take us through the program. But Una le somebody who stay accreditation high, ne? And ke voting delegate day. Hokata wa wima. Thank you very much. Comrades, let's listen carefully to the regional coordinator. Is going to take us through the program. Amanda.
Hondo chemore. Hondo chemorenga. Hondo chemorenga. Hondo chemorenga. Hondo chemore chemore. Hondo chemorenga. Hondo chemorenga. Hondo chem. Sifunu no pala de president. Sifunu no pala tina. Sifunu no pala de president. Sifunu no pala tina. Sifunu no pala de president. Sifunu no pala tina. Sifunu no pala de president. Sifunu no pala. Sifunu no pala be president. Sifunu no pala. Sifunu no pala be president. Sifunu no pala tina. Sifunu no pala be president. Sifunu no pala. Amandla. 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 Long live the ANC, long live. Long live President Cyril Ramaphosa, long live. Amandla. Long live Kosatu, long live. Long live party, long live. Long live the ANC Women's League, long live. Long live Sanko, long live. Long live Sanko, long live. Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Amandla. No, Comrade Chair, thank you very much. I think firstly what we need to do is to profusely apologize to our leadership at the level of the National Executive Committee, the PTT, members of the RTT, our alliance partners, and all of you delegates. I think you would recall that we've had a number of challenges because in terms of our program, we should have started last night. But due to unforeseen challenges that are legal in nature, from time to time, we have to share ourselves with legal issues. And as such, we would be seen as people who are neglecting our responsibilities, but also who are neglecting yourselves as the most important people. Our NEC deployees, they've been here since yesterday. We could not even have proper time to engage with them, to brief them about the conference itself. Our members of the PTT, who have always been very patient, and yourself as delegates, because myself as the chair, who's the political head, we had that particular responsibility of ensuring that before we commence with this process, at least we would have dealt with all legal issues. Although there are some that are pending, but we would love to report to this House that in terms of where we are legally, we are allowed to proceed. Because that which was trying to prevent us to proceed with the work of conference has been successfully postponed to another date. So we are duty bound to proceed with our responsibilities of conference. So, Comrade Chair, I'm going to speak about or to speak to our program. I've shared the program in our RTT portal, where members of the PTT and RTT are. I've shared it in our secretariat because we have not managed to package it because of what I would have announced to yourselves. I've even shared it with members of the NEC. I think they will be able to share it among themselves so that you see where we are. And the PTT convener would have advised me, Comrade Chair, that he will be announcing the committees of conference, and thereafter will provide the NEC convener to Gauteng, Comrade Kumbuzo Nchaveni, who's not new in Tshwane, to address the conference of the 12th conference of the ANC in Tshwane. I'm going to read the whole program, but I will tell you exactly where we are. You know, I'm handicapped when it comes to eyesight, so you'll forgive me. I can see you, but I can't see my phone. So, comrades, in terms of the program, before all of us, we were supposed to have started I think arrival was yesterday. It's something that we should have. I'm just going to skip it. Allocation of no, thank you. I'm going to skip allocations of rooms. Interfaith, I think it was done yesterday. The political input by the provincial chair was done. So where we are, comrades, we are going to allow our alliance partners to give us messages of support. Thereafter is going to be the diplomatic corps. Then we are going to have the political overview by our regional chair, Comrade Mudise. Then we are going to present the rules of conference, procedures, code of conduct. Then we will go to credentials by the ANC Regional Deputy Coordinator. Then we'll have to adopt the conference program, which is going to be done by all delegates. I'm deliberately not mentioning the timelines or timeframes because we are moving. Then there will be an organizational report by the regional coordinator. Then there will be questions of clarity and adoption of the report. Then we'll have to have the fundraisers report by the ANC regional fundraiser. We'll have questions of clarity, adoption, and reports by all delegates. We'll then outline work of commissions and discussion documents. Then there will be electoral commission nominations of the officials of the region. While we are continuing with the work of the commissions, we'll vote while we are in commissions. Then the commissions will report back to plenary and will be able to adopt the resolution, as the chair has indicated that all conference responsibilities should be concluded by the end of our conference. Then there will be Electoral Commission announcing the results of the officials. Then we'll go to the nominations of members of the REC. Then the commissions will report back to plenary and will adopt the resolutions while voting continues for REC members. The Electoral Commission announcement of elected additional members of the REC. Then there will be conference declaration by the newly elected regional secretary. Then there will be closing remarks by the newly elected regional secretary. Oh, Chairperson, my apology. Oh, yeah. Chairperson, wang hopotsa comrade ore go bane le di breakfast le di lunch le mabane re jele sapa, so obviously re tshwantse re kgone go ithusa mo bana wa o nsupetsa mola gore he re bana le bothata re sa ya go ntle ne di toilet di mo haufi le rena. I hope yeah, thank you very much, comrade chair. Mandla.
Thank you very much, regional coordinator. I get one bara file di temezemsha. Regional convener, regional coordinator. Then when you reach the conference, outgoing regional coordinator, outgoing regional chair. Hey, you know, English is so beautiful. But I think it's important that we give the regional coordinator the deserving round of applause. So, comrades, we are galloping with our program. We are going to request our alliance partners to give us a message of support. We are going to start with Sanko. I'm warned that I must not use the name that I used yesterday. Comrade Evelyn from Sanko, come and give us a message of support. Chikitela mhlali, chikitela. Pata Sanko pata. Silamulele Sanko. Silamulele Sanko. Silamulele Sanko. Silamulele Sanko. Sa. Oh, okay. Safa, Safa, Safila, my person. Silamulele,
Sanko silamulele. Sanko silamulele. Sanko silamulele. Safa, Safa, Safa sapela. Safa, Safa, Safa sapela. Amandla wathinta abafazi. Comrades, leadership and the delegates of the ANC, Comrade Long, why would I to the nickname Zarina? Apology accepted. Sanko extends its warm revolutionary greeting to the leadership and the delegates gathered for this historic 12th ANC Regional Conference. We appreciate the invitation to come and be part of this important moment in the life of our movement. As a proud and committed alliance partner, Sanko values deep, strategic, and enduring relationship that binds our organization in the struggle for the transformation of our society. Our partnership is rooted in a shared commitment to the advancement of our communities, the defense of democracy, and the ongoing project of building a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. This regional conference is convened at a time when our communities continue to face pressing socio-economic challenges. Amongst them is unemployment, service delivery constraints, safety concerns, and inequality. We trust that the ANC, as the leader of society, will use this conference to reflect honestly, renew organizational discipline, strengthen unity, and emerge with clear, actionable programs that will respond to the lives and the realities of our people. The regional conference, Sanko remains committed to working with the ANC to ensure overwhelming victory in 2026. Our civic structures, our communities network, and our grassroots presence will be fully mobilized to defend the gains of our democracy and advance progressive local governance. A firm, comrades, but a warning. As we pledge our support, we must also speak frankly. The alliance can only succeed when all partners are respected, when all the alliance partners are valued and fully utilized. Sanko had at times felt undermined and sidelined in processes of deployment, decision-making, and developmental initiatives. Let it be clear that Sanko cannot and it will not accept being reduced to a junior partner or a ceremonial presence. We are a strategic civic pillar with roots in communities, and our role in shaping service delivery, community engagement, and governance is indispensable. We call on the ANC to recommit itself to genuine alliance cooperation, consultation, and mutual respect. We further call for unity, renewal, and decisive leadership. For only a strong, united ANC can lead a strong, united alliance and advance the national democratic revolution. On these occasions, comrades, Sanko wishes the delegate a fruitful deliberation, constructive engagement, and successful outcome that will strengthen the ANC, and by extension, the entire alliance. Forward with a united and renewed ANC. Forward with victory in the 2026 local election. Forward with the advancement of our communities. Amandla.
Today you are economical ka ho tlapa matsoho man. No, lunch will be prepared, don't worry. Lunch will be prepared. So let's appreciate the wonderful words and the message of support from Sanko. Chikichela, Sanko, Chikichela! Kina mhlali, kina! Now we're going to afford Pasebenzi. An injury to one is an injury to all. And Tate Hlongwane to give us a message of support. Hina me, hiyahla, sizozabala, enze malindlela, hina meva, hiyahla, sizozabala, sizozabala, sizozabala. Sizozabala, sizozabala, yenze malendlela, inameva, iyatava, yenze malendlela, inameva, iyatava, ayeye. Sizozabala, sizozabala, sizozabala,
yenze malendlela nami eyahlaba sizozabala yenze malendlela enamefa eyahlaba sizozabala 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 enze malendlela enamefa eyahlaba Mandla, Mandla, viva the African National Congress, viva, viva South African Communist Party, viva, viva Sanko, viva, viva Kwasato, viva, viva ANC Women's League, viva, viva ANC Veterans League, viva, viva ANC Youth League, viva, tia mushumitia, tia mushumitia. The ANC, NEC, Kumbuza Ntshavheni, PTT led by Comrade Panyaza Lesufi in his absence, the RTT led by Comrade Bonzo Mudise, SACP led by Comrade Nape Mpiri, Sanko led by Comrade Secretary Evelyn Matlaile, COSATU led by myself, Comrade Hlongwane. I'm leading, comrade. It is not by default. Now I get only Comrade Bonzo, I give more RTT, now I lead. Stop. Now I elect. I get a matat. Comrades, we bring warm revolutionary greetings from COSATU to Tshwane at last. We are the children of Elijah Bahai. We are the children of Oliver Tambo and many others. Comrades, we want to start by saluting all councillors who defended workers in the council, making sure that the DA failed on his mission that workers must get their salary increase.
We are demanding that all workers who were dismissed by the DA-led municipality, when these workers were fighting for the salary increase, should be immediately restated. Workers carry the responsibility to their families and their homes to sustain and bills to pay. It can't be correct that workers are dismissed permanently. Comrade Bonzo, deal with the issue immediately. We cannot postpone it forever. We can't. We call for an audit of municipality housing to remove the illegal occupants and allow employees, the city employees, to occupy them legally. By so doing, Comrade Bonzo, you are going to boost the finances of the city, because those workers that are going to occupy those houses, they are going to pay rates and taxes. Currently, there is illegal immigrants that are staying there, but they are not assisting the city with finances. We must make sure that those people are removed and our people are sitting there. How do we feel a Metro Police officer at Mukuku, and you expect this person to protect the people and the city? His life is in danger. It can't be correct under our watch. Comrades, we've got a major concern, Chairperson. Under your watch, you have collapsed the alliance. The relationship is collapsed, comrade. It can't be correct, Comrade George. We must rebuild this relationship. We must rebuild this relationship. Our relationship cannot be based on election. We cannot have a friendly relationship when we must campaign for the election. It's incorrect. The relationship should be balanced. Engage us at any given times. Engage us in important issues. Let's take decision together as an alliance. It can't be correct, comrade, that you treat us as a stepchild. In our own movement, we will never allow that, comrade. We must correct that. This is not an alliance of the ANC only. It's an alliance of all the MDM structures. Comrades, Miai Kibaki said, open quote, "Leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others, not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed," close quote. In that we are saying, comrades, we call the African National Congress in Tshwane to support the Kasi economy. Where we are sitting, comrades, in the township, there is a lot of graduates who are artisans, who are unemployed. We must identify those who are graduated, who are unemployed, that we can be able to help and provide them with tools of trade so that they can start their own business. For example, you've got taxi ranks in the township, Comrade Bonzo. If you can identify those scholars, those graduates who have done mechanical engineering, and buy them a toolbox, give them and engage at the taxi rank and say, we want so and so to come and change your brake pads and other things so that he can make a living. We are going to deal with issue of unemployment. It can't be correct. We must also deal with issues of contractors in the municipality. It can't be correct that we have people who have been contracted for 10 years. We must absorb them. We must absorb them. It can't be correct, man. So, comrade, it is not yet Uhuru. We can still change, Comrade Bonzo. You have said yesterday that we must forgive you. And it will be correct that when we forgive you, but we must tell you our mistakes. You see, yesterday, Comrade Bonzo, we were there the whole day. We arrived at 10. Nobody said anything to us. We're just sitting there, being lonely. No food, no water. We were running amok, trying to phone the leadership. You were not even answering our calls. So we ask ourselves that, hey, Matot, this comrade invite us and now they don't answer our phones. What is this? It can't be Comrade Bonzo. Let's change the way that we are doing things so that we can win 2026 together. You see, comrade, there is one mistake that some of our leaders trying to make, or they make deliberately. Comrades, never underestimate workers. Workers are breadwinners. When I go home, I talk to my wife and my kids who are eligible to vote. And I say to them, this is the situation with the African National Congress. And they take marching orders from me. And it is not only them. And my niece, my nephews, my uncles, my brothers. You see, because kenna breadwinner, time over phone. So how nor defy. So we don't want that. And as we are preparing for 2026, we must not forget that as the NEC, under the leadership of Comrade Mkumbuzo Makazi, there is a debt where you owe workers, Resolution 1 of 2018. That issue is a thorny issue. If you want to go and check the stats, after 2018, after workers, they were not given their salary increase. Workers become angry. Most of them, they did not vote for the African National Congress. It can't be correct. We must correct those mistakes, Makaban. We can do better by making sure that we keep workers happy and engage and resolve things amicably. In closing, comrades, we want to wish you a very successful Congress. We hope and trust that let this Congress be the spark that strengthens our unity, sharpens our discipline, and renews our commitment to serve our people with honesty. In that, comrade, amandla, amandla.
Guala social. Amandla, Matla, happy birthday to Kosatu, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Kosatu, happy birthday. Comrades, we are now going to receive the message of support from South African Communist Party, but there's someone who have left the phone in the toilet. But if you don't have the password of this phone, you are not going to get it. Raugwana musma comrade. Ashion. Mhlaba wonke sandleni saba kunamuntu aphethu mhlaba ngawe in socialism mhlaba wonke sandleni saba kunamuntu
Amandla. 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 Thank you, comrades. Let's not waste time, comrades. Thank you very much. Thanks to Comrade Chair. And let me quickly acknowledge the leadership, Comrade Diana Pule, the NEC, and Comrade Supra, Comrade Pauli, the NEC convener of deployee, Comrade Nkubuso, the all PTT members, the RTT members, and the delegates to the 12th Congress of the ANC. We greet you, comrades, on behalf of the Communist Party of South Africa District. Let me start to say, Comrade Chair, we wish you the successful regional conference under the theme Renewal, Rebuild, Unite for Consolidation for the People's Power. The theme is correct theme, Comrade Chair. But we want to say, as the Communist Party, we must learn lessons as members of the ANC and as members of the alliance. One of the lessons that we must learn, number one, Comrade Chair, through you, we must learn lessons from the Sandinista movement. That's lesson number one. The Sandinista movement, as a liberation movement, they embarked on renewal after losing power. And this is linked, I'm happy, it's linked to the theme of the Congress. They lost power and they embarked on the renewal after 10 to 30 years, and they took power under the theme renewal. This is lesson number one. Number two is the Communist Party of China. It went through a difficult period around the period of 1978 under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping. That's why he said that whether the cat is black or white, as long as it can catch the mouth is a good cat. He was embarking on the renewal, economic and organizational renewal. China today can feed 1.4 billion population today. And Comrade Chair, one important thing that I must acknowledge with the current leadership and those who are deployed in government currently, post-displacement of the DA liberal government after 9 years, the ANC, now comrades who are deployed in the executive, all MMC, they are running the ground. But one important thing is that, Comrade Chair, we can't, comrades, in the spirit of developmental local government, not review the city macro structure. The city macro structure is a stumbling block of the service delivery. I'll give you the reason why. When Comrade Putla and the leadership at that time took over in the 2011, the first thing to do, the leadership, they reviewed the city macro structure. The city service delivery, since then, things changed. We wanted, after the reconfiguration, Comrade Chair, after displacement of the DA last year, to engage the alliance partners, the REC led by you and Comrade George, to discuss this particular matter, to say, why you, comrades, you can't, with the MEC of COCTA, review the city macro structure. But the leadership was unavailable. That's why I agree with Kwasatu that the alliance at the level of the region here, it was not well, Comrade Chair. And it's not an attack on your leadership, on the leadership of George. It was not well. We have not been meetings a while. We have not been held a meeting a while. And we pick up, and this is a weakness of alliance. One of our weaknesses is that the ANC here in the region consult opposition parties more than alliance partners. And this is a weakness as the Communist Party. It's also our weaknesses. We must consult SAMU as a municipal progressive workforce in the city of Tshwane. and consult them on the wisdom. Lastly, Comrade Chair, from the party point of view, is that we have a service delivery challenges, and if we don't tackle this, if the ANC doesn't tackle this, we have a syndicates who are tampering with reservoirs. Water is a scarce resource, comrades. Now we have unemployment, poverty, and equality. These syndicates, they tamper with reservoirs so that the ANC can carry, with citizens of 3.5 million at the city of Tshwane, can have water challenges. Then while the ANC has water challenges, the citizens will no longer vote for the ANC because the ANC-led coalition, it can't provide the water to the citizens. What the ANC-led alliance is doing with these problems, comrades. This Congress must respond to those challenges. The councillors, comrades, the councillors in the communities, all councillors of the ANC, they are working very hard here. But they are terrorized by the syndicates who want projects in the community. What are we doing as the ANC and alliance councillors? And councillors, they've been killed. We lost many councillors as the ANC alliance here in Tshwane. What are we doing out those who are killing councillors, comrades? This is very painful for us as the Communist Party, comrades. This is very painful, comrades. We must, the reason why we are, the ANC is our principal ally. The challenges of the ANC is the challenges of the Communist Party. We must acknowledge them. So the challenges of the ANC that face is our challenge. So we must respond to these challenges collectively. And as I sit down, Comrade Chair, this is the last point. And I must say this. The augmented Central Committee and the Politburo of the Communist Party said the following is the quote. The SSC, the resolutions of the SSC Congress cannot be replaced by those who are empowered to implement it. That is a Politburo and augmented Central Committee decisions. Amandla! Thank you, Comrade Chair.
Hi, Makomolesi. Hi, Makomoles. Hi, Makomane. Samakomane. Samakomane. Makomane. Siaketeshi. Makomane. Hi, Makomane. Hi, Makomane. Hi, Makomane, 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 Amandla, Mata, Aluta, all power. Comrades, can we sit down? Earlier on, when I was putting the house rules, I said, let's remain disciplined and principled. Re sa tshwana le bo mme ba bang ba re sa folela bo mme ba tla lwa le nna ke a hopola gore ke tla hobala yo and re mo di ma 16 days e re ke withdraw ke a withdraw a ke re makoma ntho le sa e utlwang a ke let's give our alliance partners a round of applause, comrades. Now we are going to receive our National Executive Committee member, our convener, Comrade Kumbuzo Nchaveni, to give us a line of march and actually set the tempo of this conference. We are blessed, comrades. We have 4 National Executive Committee in our conference. I'm saying in your own private space, that conference as a silo. You are lost. Siyakuba, siyahamba. we're moving, we're cruising. Siyangena. Ke nyaka le nthusa hopela pine nngwe ya mozabalazo ya khale ya o tsosa badimo hore he khombozo a tlema uto re motshwane. Ke nyaka makhatsi a uto re go hae. Khaladze akere? Eh? Khaladze phela is not a visitor here. She's been with us forever, get like. And she's our convener, so we must demonstrate that we appreciate her presence here. And when she speaks on behalf of the National Executive Committee. She's not speaking on behalf of herself. I get like this, my comrade. But each and every meeting of the African National Congress is a political discourse. So when you leave here and we leave the conference, you must be a better person. You must demonstrate that you have got an appreciation of how the organization functions. Utile ole noto uwali noto no makom aga kopela. At least about one. Look at that 3, maruter 1. Next time we start about 2. Then the other day about 3 again. Language makom. I'm underscoring this because it's important that when you leave conference as branch delegate, you must be able to deliver the resolutions of conference in the branches. It's a mandate. And when you deliver the message, it's not like you are doing them a favor. It's a mandate. When you go to conference, you take notes, you deposit views of the branch, the resolution, you take them home. And you make sure that you implement them in the branches. Helele swiloko gobe. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele swiloko gobe. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele switambo. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele swiloko gobe. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele swiloko gobe. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele switambo. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele swilambo. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele swiloko gobe. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele swiloko gobe. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele switambo. Helele swilabantu abamnya. Helele switambo.
Amandla awethu. Viva ANC, viva. Viva South African Communist Party, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva Sanko, viva. Viva the Alliance, viva. Viva the ANC Women's League, viva. ETA Youth League, ETA. Roar, young lions, roar. Thank you, comrades. To the leadership of the PTT led by Comrade Mziku Malo, who's also the convener of deployees of the Gauteng PTT in Tshwane. To the leadership of the ANC, NEC, the deployees to Gauteng. And anchored in Tshwane by Comrade Polly. She's not the convener of deployees, there's only one convener of Comrade leadership. She just anchors Tshwane. To the leadership of the RTT of Tshwane, of the ANC, led by Comrade Bonzo Mdise. To yourself, delegates, the ANC leads, the ANC leaves. The ANC leads, It's important that we remember that. Comrades, we are meeting here just 2 days after the conclusion of a very successful National General Council. Yesterday, when Comrade Panyaza was opening this conference, he congratulated us for a successful National General Council, where they thought we'll tear each other apart, but sivumela enege. But he missed one thing. I want to commend you who were delegates to the National General Council for your conduct, your discipline, your participation, because they never expected that from us. They said we're going to loiter. If we do not loiter, we're going to chant slogans. If we don't only chant slogans, we're going to tear each other apart. But we chanted slogans, but we also engaged in robust discussions. As we march forward to the 2026 local government elections, the ANC is ready from the National General Council resolutions and plans. As we march forward to our own policy conference in 2027, we march forward with a base document on policy interventions that we can then resolve at the national conference in 2027. But comrades, we need to talk, and I know the media is here. But there are things that are in the public domain that we cannot run away from. We cannot come from a successful NGC that focused on the renewal of the ANC, and we still take each other to court so that a regional conference does not sit. There is organizational processes that are set on resolving our own disputes. And those organizational processes are the ones we must all live with. As members of the ANC, we must protect the integrity and the processes of the ANC. And we can't keep on fundraising disputes, comrades. We have adopted, as the NEC, roadmap to conferences with guidelines. And all of us, those guidelines were not imposed on regions or structures of the ANC. The guidelines, and even when we were complaining that the SG is overworking us, we held RGCs, special RGCs and special consultation meetings to discuss those guidelines. All of us, we said the guidelines are sufficient, sivumelane, let's move forward. We can't say when they now have to be implemented, we then want to go to processes outside the court. We must also talk about something else. There are comrades of our own who were arrested for corruption allegations on Thursday. When they left the National General Council to go there against what is fundamentally what the ANC is fighting against, we cannot. Because we said about the organizational renewal that on our own, we are going to build activist branches. And activist branches are not branches that sit because there's a conference, we want to elect leadership. Activist branches are the branches that lead community issues in our areas. We must be sitting here and asking, I can't remember what number, in Salisbury, where was the CPF led by the ANC when people were massacred in a tavern? We can't be saying, where were the police? The police will come and catch the criminals. But we must say, where was the ANC in mobilizing society to fight against crime? That's an activist branch. Part of the organizational renewal says we must continue to do sectoral work and engage with society. So the pleas from the Communist Party and COSATU that engage us as the ANC is a non-negotiable. We must engage workers both as organized and unorganized. Remember, ANC it's a broad movement, it's a broad change. So you must engage workers and make sure that TSHWANE delivers. We must roll out political education, comrades. We all did the foundational courses because you won't be a delegate sitting here when you have not done foundational course. But we know what it means or we did the foundational course as a tick box exercise. We must reassert the integrity and values of the ANC. In the Bible, they say, a house on top of the hill cannot hide. And that's what we are as the ANC. We're a house on top of a hill. We cannot hide. But the problem is that the ANC is not defined by itself as an organization, it's defined by us as its members. So our conduct and behavior is attributed to the ANC. In the morning when I was already going through the media thing, I saw they say ANC leaders arrested for corruption, tender corruption, and the face that is there is the face of the president. But I said, but it's not Comrade X and Comrade Y who are arrested. Why are you putting the president there? But it's because the ANC takes over our sins instead of ourselves carrying over our sins when the ANC have not sent us. But where will it start? It starts by us as we go to branches. We have branch meetings as prescribed by the Constitution. And there should not be a BGM that sits in the living room of somebody else. There cannot be packages that disappear. Branch general meetings must sit. And we cannot be proud leadership of the RTT that you say you've got branches and the membership is 100, is 200. Your wards on their own, minimum voters in your ward is a 10 to 15,000 range. So 200 membership is not anything to celebrate. We need to bring the leadership of COSATU was saying, or it's the Communist Party was saying, as a worker, he'll talk to his children because he's the breadwinner, talk to the nephews and the cousins and everybody. That membership of the ANC translates to exactly that. So at a minimum, I've said in Johannesburg, we need a minimum of a branch membership of 500. But because Tshwane has started to show that we can reclaim, our membership at a branch must be 1,000. Yes. What 10 in Mamelodi, the voters alone are 15,000. What 10 Mamelodi? May the spirit of the soul of Comrade Tabang Masemula rest in peace. You can't go and say you are going to mobilize 15,000 people to vote for the ANC or to turn out to the elections when your membership is 500 comrades. Because even if you do that 500 by 4, it gives you 2,000. That's the size of the households we have in South Africa. Even if you do it by 6, it gets you to 3,000. Doesn't get you to 15,000. Because our major issue in Tshwane, we win all the wards in our constituencies, but the problem is the turnout. So we need to deal with the turnout in our branches. But we cannot talk about a renewed ANC without talking about the quality of the leadership we have. We've been chanting, Sipete Banibane une content, Sipete Banibane une angenayo content, Sipete Banibane content. We must talk about that. Because it's not about the content, it's not about me talking to you. It's about what society deems me to be a leader of the ANC. If society does not respect me as a leader of the ANC, that we have a problem because society will not follow a leader they do not respect. So we need to raise the bar on leadership. We need to say, what type of a leader do we need? We need a leader that can be the salt of the earth, if you go and quote the Bible. Because without salt, food does not taste. We need leadership that we can emulate. Earlier this year, if not late last year, I was fighting with your MMCs. And I realized I'm fighting the wrong fight. The MMCs in Tshwane, the ANC deployees, were doing a good job. But as the ANC, we were not claiming them. They were being claimed by Action SA. And we asked ourselves, how is this going to work? I remember Comrade Klangi, I think even Comrade Aaron, they were explaining to say, no, we are councillors, and Comrade Aaron, they were saying we are councillors of the ANC. Why do they have to explain that they are councillors of the ANC? Why are you not retweeting them yourselves? Why not resharing their social media things as the ANC and say black, green, and gold, ANC government delivers? It's because we are not committed to the organization, we are committed to ourselves as individuals. You think if we acknowledge that Comrade Kumbuzo is doing a good job, you will then say, no, we are profiling Kumbuzo for the next position. And it's not about that. Other parties profile their leaders and celebrate them because that good work is the good work of the ANC. That's what the ANC have sent their deployees to do, not the nonsense that the deployees at times do. But the media is quick to run and say, oh, the ANC has done this thing when they talk about wrong things. And we do not amplify our own things. What's the total membership of TSHWANE, by the way? You are on 16,000. Imagine if all the 16,000 members retweet the good work of our MMCs in council. I'm even battling to get all the ANC members to retweet the good work of President Ramaphosa. Why? It's because we sit and focus on the self instead of focusing on the ANC. But we have said to ourselves, as leaders of the ANC, we are going to renew ourselves. As members of the ANC, we are renewing ourselves. We are prioritizing the organization and not the self. When we're analyzing these challenges of conferences, we say the fight is because of who's going to be the next councillor. It cannot be. We've issued the guidelines as NEC of what should an ANC councillor be. What is the qualification criteria? And part of that includes community viewing you as a leader. Yes, the branch will finalize who's the candidate, but the community will have a say and will have to have serious consideration. What is the community saying about you? So even if you think you are a good leader, if the community does not think you are a good leader, you are good for nothing in the ANC and for the ANC. And there's one thing that we need to talk about. As members of the ANC and leaders of the ANC, we think we're entitled to say certain things. So if tomorrow President Ramaphosa considers a number of things and say, Kumbuzo, no, you can't continue in this role and you go something, I get very angry, as if I came with that position. And I forget that I was deployed by the ANC for a particular mission. I'll give you my own example. Me, I'm a tech person. They once deployed me to lead the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. I was very angry when they removed me and took me to the presidency. I was very angry. And I say I was doing very well. I was covering, would have finished this and that. And president says, no, what you needed to do, you have done the spectrum auction, you've pushed forward the digital migration, you have started to do the SA Connect of Wi-Fi hotspots. You remember, Musi, during our time with Comrade Sputla, you had Wi-Fi hotspots. And the DA came and killed the Wi-Fi hotspots in public places. And I didn't hear the branches of the ANC mobilizing society to demand the continuation of Wi-Fi hotspots in our communities. And I felt, hey, we can cover this thing of digital technologies. And President says, it's done, you have done what you are said to do. I was very bitter. But I then reminded myself, who am I to decide where I must best serve? If the ANC say I must go and clean toilets, I will go clean toilets gladly. We must all be able to do that. None of us were born with positions. If you want career pathing, go to corporate, go and look for a job, go and start your own company, go and do the qualifications, then you can decide how you move. Here in the ANC decides. And when they decide and deploy you, you must do your best, because wherever you are an example of the ANC. In the ANC, we have said, for a person to lead the ANC, they must pass through the eye of the needle. How many of us are putting the leadership preferences we have through the eye of the needle? Will they pass, or they are a camel? A camel cannot pass through the eye of the needle. Remember, it has a hatchback. Can they pass? So we need to have that conversation, because in 2026, that's what society is going to judge us on. I was sitting in the parking waiting for conference to start, and I saw how we come, the vehicles we drive in, whatever. Can society relate with us with a blunted display of materialism? Even in funerals, there's a leadership thing, there are ice boys there. Biang makom. Arisaya kodi makum uyothatsa dijana uthuso wapia whatever. Yes, there are catering companies that get hired for those things. But where are the ANC comrades? How do we lead society who cannot relate with us? By the way, when they call you leadership, they don't mean it. They are valehoya. They are buying your faces. Because behind you, they are very disgruntled. So we must raise the bar on the leadership. And I'm raising it here because you have a huge fight around leadership. And there cannot be a leadership without women. We are not negotiating. We didn't parachute ourselves. We are fit to lead. And there's this thing that women can only lead these sections, but we can't lead that section. It is that very mentality that increases gender-based violence. Including jokes we make about women that are unpalatable. So, Comrade Bonzo, you didn't withdraw only because it's 16 days of activism, but you have withdrawn because we cannot socialize our comrades, our communities, that women, you can make ridiculous jokes about them. Because the gender-based violence, the fight against gender-based violence in South Africa is not limited to the 16 days, it's a 365-day struggle. And we must lead society in making sure that is what we are, that we are committed as the ANC, that my brother, when I know that my brother is abusive to his wife or his girlfriend, I will speak against him and I will even report him. I will stop hating my sister-in-law, I'll support my sister-in-law so that she feels a member of the family. Because that is exemplary leadership. I will support another woman to emerge, and then another woman, not only in the ANC, but in society, because only when women rise, we can all rise. So what are we saying? We are saying from this conference, as we rebuild and we renew the ANC, we are not going to be led by factionalism and patronage. We are saying we are going to choose leaders, and including when we deal with candidates later, we are going to deploy based on merit and not functions. Because the ANC have lost many comrades who have capacity because they happen to belong in a wrong faction or have different leadership preference. We are going to exercise the greatest amount of discipline and political discipline. And by the way, I don't know if you know the decision of the NEC. Those of you taking us to court, we're going to ask who's funding you, and we're going to trace the money. The ANC does not have money, but R1 million to date has been spent on the court cases against one. Can be. We need to start to account to say who are these business people who are ready to fund the destruction of the ANC. But also ourselves here. We need to be held to be accountable. Your regional conference is going to pass. We are going to have an outcome. We are going to make sure those who get elected and those who do not get elected, based on their skills and competencies, we are going to rope them back to contribute to the ANC. Including deployment in council. Because we have committed in the organizational renewal of the ANC that our organizational renewal is also based on the renewal of leadership and inclusion. Because we cannot afford that when we leave this conference, comrades are starting to count when is the next 3 years so that we go to a regional conference. Or to say because we are going to a provincial conference next year, you then say, no, we'll deal with them at the provincial conference. The preferences of Tshwane ends in this conference. When the leadership is elected, we rally behind the elected leadership and we go together as Tshwane to deliver our leadership preference in the provincial conference. But as you leave this conference, as delegates and as leaders of the ANC, we are going to see you being active in mobilizing society behind the banner of the ANC. And you don't only mobilize through door to door, you also mobilize through your own actions. You cannot reside in a ward and the ward is dirty and you say you are waiting for government or the municipality. No. We want you to be calling the deputy mayor and say we want skips donated, brought here because we are on a cleaning campaign as a branch. We can't be complaining that there is no water in Tshwane when you are there because the municipality also put interventions. Your ward, your community, your street, your block must know when are the water tankers coming. If they do not come, it doesn't matter who's the MMC of infrastructure. You must call them and say, we need water, this ward did not receive, and we go and put it in the WhatsApp group of the community. We cannot be sitting making excuses. Yes, we are in a coalition government, but they don't see the other parties, they see only the ANC. I went to do, in 2024, I was doing door-to-door in Mamelodi. And people were telling us, yeah, the ANC is not delivering. I said, do you know that the government is not ANC? And that time it was the DA. And they say, no, we have elected the ANC. So we need to make sure that our ward councillors delivers because people don't know the other parties, they only know the ANC. And they only know the ANC because they love the ANC. And it's only when you actively work as a cadre of the ANC and a leader of the ANC that they will then say, we are going out to make sure the ANC gets back to power. And we can't talk about renewal when there's no progress. I like the fact that we are tracking the voter turnouts in by-elections. But we should also set ourselves a target. 2026 is going to be difficult, comrades. And if Tshwane doesn't rise, because majority of the people in Tshwane are ANC people, if Tshwane doesn't rise and say we are setting ourselves a target of a turnout that is higher, we'll do the calculations with the REC when it's elected and the PEC and say this is the target and that work cannot start then. That work must start in January when we return from January 8th. We need to mobilize the whole of society behind the ANC because those who have benefited from the ANC now have the audacity to say, the ANC has done nothing for me. They do it hanging on a gate of an RDP house. They do it having been the first graduate in their own families, sponsored by TEFSAs and NEFSAs. But they do it because we have not said when you reach this base level of basic needs, you know the Maslow hierarchy of needs. What is the next level? An RDP house will stop being relevant. My child does not see an RDP house being relevant. I see an RDP house being relevant because that is the first house, decent house, proper house that I lived in. But my daughter does not see an RDP house as irrelevant because when she was born, she found that house being there. And now she wants a bigger house. And to get a bigger house, it means somebody must work and somebody must run a small business so that we can be able to extend that house. So as the ANC, what are we doing to make sure people have the ability to create, to improve their own standards of living? We come and say there's high unemployment. I don't know if you have done an analysis. In countries where they've dealt with unemployment, where the employment is very high, and I'll give you the narrative of high unemployment is also, we must also acknowledge the improvements that we are making. Unemployment has declined to 17.1 million in the third quarter. We have created 248,000 jobs, reduced unemployment to 8 million people, having reduced by 360,000 people who have removed from the unemployment bracket. So we are making some headway. And by the way, even when there's inequality, Status has released the trends, poverty trends compared to 2003 to now, they have declined. So we need to acknowledge, we must not continuously talk about the negative when there are improvements. There are improvements, they may not be enough. But if you go to countries where there's employment, serious employment, it's not created by jobs in government. Neither are they created by jobs in the private sector, because technology is consolidating jobs, by the way. The jobs are created by small businesses. But what do? We rent our back rooms, our garages to Somalis and Pakistan to run spaza shops to compete with our own person. And we don't go and patronize a spaza shop that is owned by a South African. We must thank the city of Johannesburg under the leadership of the ANC led by Comrade Dadamrer for insisting that when you are going to run an informal business in the CBD of Johannesburg and they are going to the townships, you need to have a permit, and to have a permit, you must be registered in South Africa, you must be recorded. If you are a foreign national, you must have the right papers to be here. You're not clapping. That's a serious ANC achievement. The Johannesburg CBD today is clean. We can walk, there's no more Dunuza there. We can walk in the pavements unhindered. We can carry our handbags as women. We can talk on our cell phones without anybody running away with our phones. And why are you not clapping? Because that's an ANC achievement. They said we are doing it for the G20. The G20 has passed and we say we are not folding. We are restoring the rule of law. We are restoring our cities, but we are restoring the right of South Africans to do small business in their own country. Because currently the threshold says, small business, you need to, if you want to participate in a business when you're not a South African in the country, you must invest 5 million. But you can't tell me a spaza shop and a market on the street, it requires a 5 million rand investment. But the city of Johannesburg is implementing those bylaws to make sure South Africans, they took us to court, we won. And we said, no, we'll register all of them. Seri lost. And they said, no, many people are excluded. We said, bring them. Here's the criteria. They don't pass through the criteria. In Alexander, people did not know Pen Mall, how the Pen Mall looked. Some kids were born thinking Pen Mall is chaotic. It's for the first time when the city of Johannesburg is implementing the bylaws legally so that children say, oh, there's a pavement. Oh, there's that store. They've never seen that store. And then you can go to Pen Mall in Alexander without you being, to go and buy bread when you stay around the mall, without your parents fearing that you are going to be abducted. Because the city of Johannesburg, under the leadership of the ANC, under our Councillor Dadamrer, are doing work. Clap, comrades. Do not worry. The decision around executive mayors of cities and secondary cities is the officials' decisions. It's not yours. It's not the RC. It's not the PEC. It's the officials' decision. So don't be fighting here to say who's going to be a mayoral candidate. No, no, no. The officials of the ANC will decide. So it's not about that, and we should be clear. So we are not profiling anyone. We are profiling the good work of the ANC. And we are saying to our comrades here who are deployed as MMC, go and emulate and do better. We saw your work. You have been doing well. The showground under the DA was in derelict. That's why the showground. We can now start using the Tshwane showground because of our comrades doing work there. And you know what they do? They don't fund interventions in our townships. In the informal sectors in the townships, they never took refuge. They never cleaned the toilets. They never brought water tanks for water. It's only when the ANC went back in the coalition that we then got those services back. But we're not celebrating it. Why? We need to mobilize those motive forces to support the ANC. So we need to amplify the successes of the ANC. And it's important that conversation to say the economic structure, the microeconomic structure of Tshwane, we need to be deliberate about changing it and reviewing it. Because that's when we're going to appeal to that motive force that is called the black middle class, which was created by us, by the way. We used to call them the black diamonds, you remember? And now they are firmly the black middle class. And we scratch our heads. How are we going to campaign in Mooikloof? How are we going to do door-to-door in, what's this other gated suburb that is huge now? And with the one extending Mooikloof intervention there. We need to scratch our heads. How are we going to campaign in Pretoria East? How, comrades? How did we end up there when black people, whether you are colored, whether you are Pedi, Venda, Tsonga, Zulu, Xhosa, whatever, whether you are Indian, you stay in the Pretoria East area because of the ANC intervention. And by the way, we think they are sitting there nice in Pretoria East. The schools there are Afrikaans. Private schools have been privatized by a language called Afrikaans. And therefore, when you stay in Pretoria East, you pay very expensive school fees for your child to go to school. We can't afford the school fees in Pretoria East. So imagine if the ANC, through the SGBs, through the community engagement, we were mobilizing to make sure that whether you are Constantia Clove, whether you are Menlo Park, whether you are Pretoria Science, or whether you are Waterkloof Science, those schools are teaching with a dual medium, including English, so that our people can then take their children there to school. I guess some of us are migrant workers. We live there in Pretoria East. My neighbor has 4 kids. I pay school fees for my 2 kids. That is 4 times the price that my neighbor pays for their 4 kids. Because if they have to go to the school that is 5 minutes away where they can walk, they have to be able to speak Afrikaans. So what about the kids from Ashkunda Maremba? Where will they get Afrikaans? But how relevant is the ANC in the discussion about the medium of instructions in those suburbs? And I can ask here by show of hands, how many of you stay in that Pretoria East arrangement, whether it's the New East or Old East? I can see majority of you have there. Actually, our branches in the townships are for marking register and to be delegates. We don't necessarily stay there. We know those tendencies. But we can't organize ourselves in that Pretoria East where we are there. When we organize, we go and blitz in the corners of the streets. But you are blitzing for people going to malls. You are not blitzing for residents there. We must move a proper door-to-door in that East arrangement. And there are workers there. Imagine if we had partnered with COSAT with the domestic workers union. and make sure that those workers are mobilized, they reside there, and they can go and vote for the ANC. And that's what the renewal of the ANC is about. It's about us being relevant. Imagine the ANC battling to win Tshwane when we've got the student population in the universities, whether it's TUT, whether it's University of Pretoria. I'm not even including the varsity colleges and all these other private universities. But what is the role of the ANC in supporting the PYA? Not only for elections, during the SRC elections, there's a back-to-school campaign that is coming. The Minister of Higher Education through Cabinet has announced that the NEFSAS is going back to the campuses. Is the ANC structures in Soshanguve and Pretoria West, and wherever there's a campus of TUT and also the campus of Pretoria University, are we going to put desks to support the PYA to make sure we assist these first-time students who are battling with NEFSAS and also the returning students who are battling with NEFSAS? How will those children support the ANC if we are not there as the ANC to support? We leave it at you don't even resource it, but we have money to resource court orders. So what we want to see is an ANC that is active in societal issues. And the fact that there is a ward and a branch of the ANC, it means the ANC is there because leadership is not the elected leadership alone. You as a member of the ANC, you are a leader of the ANC. You as a member of the ANC, you are the ANC. Start it on your own and see whether other comrades will not come through. Some of us who have become public faces of government and they know that we are from the ANC. When you walk in the mall, hi makom, leskai tlohela, leskai dumela, but to baba ritiele power, they'll reverse us back to apartheid. And I asked, did you vote for the ANC? I even said to my family, I've got a quite extended family, to say where I stay, we're going to put an ANC table next year to register people to vote for the ANC. Do you know that the ISF started to issue registration forms, calls for registration, isn't it? We don't have to wait for voter registration days. But have we ever seen an ANC desk in Main Lane? Why not? How many entrances does Main Lane have? 10. Because we must say this is peak period. We're going to put an ANC desk there. It may not benefit us as Tshwane, but it will benefit the ANC in general because people who go to Main Lane are not necessarily people from Tshwane. Why are we not running those things? We put desks there, the rent is the show, but it's like we are apologizing even there. And I'm expecting, comrades, the deputy mayor of Tshwane, we're expecting that the Tshwane show is going to come back. So that we can use that showground to recruit for the ANC. And not only include, and here we are the capital, we sit with embassies, so we must be inundated with ANC Tshwane programs to engage with professionals on one issue or the other. NGOs are worried by the PEFA funding and the position of the US against us. Has the Tshwane RTT convened an engagement with these NGOs that are in the HIV sector to discuss about the implications and the interventions? Because that's what we need to do as the ANC. So as we move out of this conference, we're expecting a program of action that is relevant to the ANC in Tshwane, reinserting itself as leader of society in Tshwane. That is anchored by the problems of Tshwane. What I liked with Gauteng, when we're going to the NGC, even with the base document of renewal, you said, what are the issues that are relevant to Gauteng? So we need to bring it down, Comrade Beck, into like, because I see you are here. We need to bring it down and say, what does it mean for Tshwane? What does it mean for Johannesburg? What does it mean for Ekurhule? Because that program of action must be actionable. It must be felt by society. That's when we are renewing the ANC. Because the ANC cannot only lead, the ANC must live. How do we know that you live? Is because you've got a pulse. You are active. You are visible. You are walking. There's things you wake up and do every day. That should be the ANC. It must be actionable. And you can't lead them if you do not love them. And our love for our people our love for our people must not be anchored on hugs and kisses and all the other things. It must be anchored by what do we do to alleviate the challenges of our people. So as I close, we need to see, after the election of the RC, we need to see the Alliance Secretariat being active. We need to see a program that is dedicated to sectoral engagement that is not limited to elections. We need to see a robust program to recruit youth and the unemployed. We need to see a program to deal with crime, to fight against crime in Soshanguve. Now they are cropping into Atteridgeville, Sosville, in Mamelodi. There cannot be no-go areas. Those programs must be led by the ANC because the ANC is able to activate the support of government to pull the all of society approach to deal with societal issues in Tswane and in Gauteng and in South Africa. And we are going to promise you, we'll leave you to do, when you have elected your RC, we'll leave them to go and set up their RWC. We don't want to be involved in squabbles. But we are going to be in a meeting of the RC that adopts and finalizes the program of action of Tswane. Amandla. Awethu. Oliver Tambo. Oliver Tambo. Oliver Tambo.
Oliver Tambo, ba, bisanda sa, we Tambo ba, usiwa mungasi yegele ba, bisanda sa, we Tambo ba, bisanda
isandla sakho Mabuza. Amanda, Viva African National Congress, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Viva Kosato, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Chikijela, Sango Chikijela! Long live the spirit of Nelson Mandela, long live! Long live the spirit of Kalusha Matangu, Solomon Matangu, long live! Comrades, I'm going to be with you for a longer period of time. Yeah, Kori, you must get used to me. Yeah, for the longer period of time. Comrades, firstly, let me greet and acknowledge the leadership of the National Executive Committee present here. I'm not going to mention their names. They've already been acknowledged. And also the leadership of the province, led by Comrade Mziku Malo, and also our outgoing RTT members. We've been together for 3.5 years, and they can applaud themselves for the great work that they've been. Comrades, currently we are going to receive the political overview from the current chairperson or convener of the ANC in this region. But before that, as you move towards the closed session, I'm going to ensure that you are properly seated. We know that in our midst, we have the voting delegates. Dumela ma voting delegates. You are our honorable voting delegates. We have also Renale by Mbabu Shokwa, our guest. So we don't want to mix voting delegates with the guest. Comrades, but we are going to do that exercise after the political input or report. Then we can rearrange ourselves so that we can know who is eligible to propose the motions and who is not eligible to do so. Comrades, from my side, can we get the revolutionary song?
Amanda! Aluta! Yesterday I warned that we must not sing songs that divide the movement. We are on the eve of electing the leadership, but that must not be our obsession. We must not be preoccupied by election. There's work that we must do, and actually our work is cut out. We know what we must do and how to achieve it. And I'm going to forever, and this will be transversal in my engagement with you. The only thing that is going to make us not to win the elections is our behavior. Nothing more, nothing less. So I don't want to be part of the contributory factors for us to fail to win the elections. I'm insulating myself from being entangled in the factions, that beyond this conference, we must all of us be on the ground, work for the movement. We have seen many comrades who failed to heal because of the aftermath of conference. I was part of those who witnessed the horrible conference of 2007 in Polokwane. And when I speak about it, I don't mince my word, because I was at the forefront of a faction. But today you are paying the price consistently, continuously, and we are unable to deal with that consequences. We must never, comrades, be entangled in that kind of faction. The mobilization campaign is a phase. A conference is an event. And beyond the conference, ANC must live and must lead. We are leading in Tshwane as we speak because of the work that we have done. We mobilized, we were looked at as if we don't know what we are doing. I remember one comrade saying, the march won't make any significant changes. I told them that you don't understand the aerial battle. You are low in terms of your understanding, and then you are struggling with poverty in terms of politics. Today, the people of Tshwane respect what we are doing and appreciate the work of the African National Congress. You can check the mood, you can check the responses. They are undermining the DA. Actually, they are ridiculing them because we are on the ground and we are not talking about people, we are talking about the plight of our people. So let me share with you the political overview of the past 3 years when we were in office. And I want to appreciate on behalf of the entire RTT for you to bestowing confidence in us. When we started, we were in opposition bunches. We looked like jokes when we said we'll take power. And even our comrades didn't believe. Today they can believe. But they don't believe that we can take power and run the city alone. I think Petros, wait for that moment, is coming. As we convene here at Velmo, Erasmia, I want to say this guardedly and apologize on behalf of military, Mkondowesi's Law War Veterans League. We didn't acknowledge them yesterday and even today. And they are angry with us. And I think we need to apologize, comrades, because that thing is wrong, extremely wrong. They are a critical component of the organization. These are the comrades who were in the cold face of our struggle. Some of them didn't enjoy their youth days. They were there for us. They fought for us. And I think I would like you, comrades, to stand up and give them a round of applause because we missed the point to acknowledge them. When we request to stand, it's not like you are buying me anything. We stand to appreciate a critical component of the organization. I don't know, we are lost or what? The other day, we were not going to enter Velmo. Not Velmo, actually. Lodium. You'll be searched like hell. Those who understand what I'm saying, they'll appreciate. When you were leaving Atteridgeville, just leaving Atteridgeville, it was a nightmare. Today, let's appreciate them. Yesterday I said I'm going to share with you two critical points that I've taken from the National General Council. And I want us to appreciate the work of the African National Congress, National Executive Committee. The NGC was a resounding victory, and we want to appreciate that. The NG spoke at length about why succession matters. The management of succession is not a matter of internal housekeeping. It is not merely about who leads the ANC. It's about whether the ANC, as a governing party, is capable of leading the nation with clarity and stability. Each time succession becomes a battlefield without rules, the state itself suffers. Program stalls, appointments are distorted, governance is weakened, and the people whose hopes we carry lose faith, not just in ANC, but in democratic politics altogether. In a time of profound national difficulty, when our people are weighed down by poverty, unemployment, and disillusionment, the ANC has a duty to remove every source of uncertainty that lies within its own control. Chief among this is how it chooses its leaders. This is not an abstract question. Other liberation movements have long recognized the centrality of succession in ensuring stability, and I'm going to cite them. Chama Mapinduzi in Tanzania, for example, has for decades institutionalized a system of consensus that ensures the transition of presidents occurs without destabilizing the party or the states. SWAPO in Namibia, too, has avoided paralyzing succession battles by managing transition with discipline, ensuring that unity of movement takes precedence over individual ambitions. Frelimo in Mozambique, through conscious planning, have maintained an orderly process of leadership renewal while holding on its standing a governing party. These examples are not without their imperfections, but they stand in stark contrast to ANC unresolved succession question. It is not enough to remind ourselves of these values. What is needed is a principled, transparent, and binding process for leadership succession. Renewal without succession, certainly, documents insist rightly that renewal is a matter of survival. They call for ethical leadership, organizational discipline, and ideological clarity. But renewal without a clear plan of succession is a hollow promise. We cannot continue to leave leadership transition to unregulated contestation, knowing full well that this has been the seedbed of divisions and paralysis. Comrade Kumbuzo stated this, that it's important that when we elect leadership, we know what we want to achieve. You cannot buy a spanner size 32 and think you'll fix a caricana. Size 32 understands that it's used to do certain work. The night of 70 years celebration of the Freedom Charter, this is the second point that I've taken from the National General Council. The mood was sensational, and the leadership demonstrated that the Freedom Charter still and forever will be relevant. They resolved to celebrate the Freedom Charter at the NGC on the 9th of December. The Freedom Charter declared one critical component: the people shall govern. That notable aspiration is betrayed when the governing party stumbles in its own conferences, uncertain of who shall govern it. The ANC should, by now, have developed a mechanism to ensure that when it enters conferences, it does not become a battlefield of competing factions, but as a forum to renew the covenant between the movement and the people. The longer we postpone this question, the deeper the damage. Every cycle of unregulated succession weakens the ANC. It erodes trust and diminishes the organization's ability to govern. Renewal will remain a slogan unless succession is brought under the principle of discipline. President Ramaphosa was conferred with an honorary doctorate in Malaysia. This was recognizing his leadership, pursuit of justice, and South Africa's struggle for freedom similar to Nelson Mandela, honored decades before. He also received one from the University of Venda in 2016 for his role drafting the Constitution. I want to cite the significance of his, this honorary degree. The university conducted a research, tracked and traced his leadership, his dedication to global development and advancing principles of justice and human dignity, and celebrating the successes of South Africa. He is labeled as the second South African after Nelson Mandela in the global scale. So he's the second one who received this milestone. I think President Ramaphosa deserves a round of applause. In October, we celebrated Istalandwe, who after 30 years of being in prison was still going strong. That is Dr. Cholo of Soshanguve. In the ANC, to be conferred with this honor is not an easy feat. Istalandwe Siaparongo is awarded by the ANC to those who have made outstanding contributions and sacrifice to the liberation struggle, and is traditionally bestowed only on the bravest warriors of the people for the exceptional qualities of leadership and heroism. And heroism not only undermining the women. I'm saying this because I'm speaking about Ntate Cholo, who is a man. The first recipient of this honor were Chief Albert Lutuli, Dr. Yusuf Dadu, and Father Trevor Hartelson at the Congress of the People in June 1955 when the Freedom Charter was adopted. In 1990, Ntate Cholo became the first ANC chairperson of Soshanguve branch immediately after his release from Robben Island, where he served 26 years. Ntate Cholo became the chairperson of the branch, where most of us formally joined ANC after its unbanning. For 30 years, from 1960, the ANC was declared unlawful by the apartheid government, and all its political activities were prohibited and its members imprisoned. Looking back at this historic moment, I'm quite certain that most of you, my fellow comrades here, feel the same as I do, that we are immensely proud of the contribution made by Ntate Cholo, and he's nurtured and sprinkled under his political tutelage and wisdom. He said in his own words, "I feel nostalgic as I remember that every single weekend we would travel from our campus at Technikon, Northern Transvaal, to do the political work." Ntate Cholo is saying every single week, consistently. I wish we can emulate him. South Africa have hosted successful G20, and there's a song that resonates with the G20, which I like. It says, "With or without you, we did it. With or without you, we made it." This was historic. It was the first time the G20 was hosted on African soil. Dr. Nick Ebegel says, when speaking about the countenance, the faces of the people of South Africa, "Your people are extraordinary." A German delegate commented and said, "I've attended summits on 6 continents. I've never experienced the warmth like this." A Japanese delegate said, "Your security guards smile while being vigilant. Your drivers share stories while navigating. Everyone from the protocol officers to the coffee vendors treat us like family, not foreign dignitaries." Our country is full of humanity. When you land at any airport in South Africa, you are greeted by a smile, and it's contagious. Ubuntu is us. us is Ubuntu. The G20 working group focuses on 6 high-impact priorities: addressing inequality and reducing vulnerabilities. By fostering international cooperation and sharing best practices, it aims to support sustainable development initiatives that reduce poverty and empower marginalized groups, including indigenous people, women, and youth. This also emphasizes gender responses and the disability-inclusive policies, advocating for equitable investment in resilience. This got President Ramaphosa all in it. And I want us to appreciate him furthermore for declaring GBV as a national crisis. Global coverage and early warning systems. Cellular broadcasting emerges as a scalable solution, delivering real-time alerts directly to mobile services without needing internet access, making it especially effective in rural and remote areas. Despite these advancements, challenges persist, including achieving interoperability across various mobile networks and devices, addressing regulatory and funding constraints, and ensuring full geographic coverage. Comrade Kumbuzo spoke about when she was deployed in one department and when she came into communications. As we speak, there are 2 or 3 bullies which are providing network in our country. We want Comrade Kumbuzo and the team to expand it. We must be like all other African countries wherein they've got 10 or more service providers and the price is managed so that our people can be able to afford. Disaster and climate resilience infrastructure. Extreme heat present because challenges of housing which can become unsafe and unhealthy, especially in densely populated and undeserved areas. To address these impacts, it is essential to explore technologies that enhance the thermal performance of housing, such as materials that reflect heat or promote passive cooling. Financing frameworks, mobilizing resources across public and private sectors to support resilience and minimize disaster impacts, especially in vulnerable regions. Key mechanisms include domestic financing, private sector investment, and multinational support from development banks, which play a crucial role in providing both financial resources and technical expertise. Comrade Kumbuzo, I invested time in analyzing the global finance houses, and I read what they are doing to us, the developing countries. Comrades, all developing countries, including ourselves, are paying 975 billion rands of interest per year. We must get rid of that an ugly, continuous apartheid system depression on our developing countries. If you are paying 975 billion rands a year, it means you will never be out of the debt. That is a lifetime entrapment into a debt. In terms of this disaster recovery and rehabilitation and construction, by integrating measures into the phases, the aim is to build back better, ensuring that communities are more prepared for future events. This approach emphasizes local planning, community engagement to tailor response, effectively drawing on lessons learned and evidence-based solutions. The nature-based solutions and ecosystem-based approach for disaster risk reduction. By restoring ecosystems like wetlands, forests, and mangroves, countries have enhanced environmental resilience, reducing the impact of disasters such as flood, droughts, and landslides. I think it's important that the National Executive Committee members at some point must come and tell you why USA didn't come. Perhaps you must delve deep so that everybody can have an appreciation. There's deeper politics that we need to share at some point. I think I'm not privileged to do that, but they'll come at an appropriate time. In terms of the international balance of forces, since the last conference, the world has defeated COVID-19 disease. The insidious harm caused by COVID or coronavirus cannot be forgotten so easily when the effects of its damage are still felt to this day. Combating corruption is essential, and the ANC in various parts of the country, particularly here in Tshwane, must take steps to combat corruption, especially the subtle kind. This kind has always been practiced by anybody else except the African National Congress. We need to be deliberate and unapologetic. Altering the weather patterns, which unfortunately are the contributors, are those who want us to pay, while we contribute only for 4%. These are allegations that weather patterns can now be altered to cause damage in particular selected parts of the world. This phenomenon is conducted as a test to show how future battles between countries will be waged. We are truly living in interesting times, and the more we learn about this new phenomenon, the better. Comrades, this is something that perhaps those who want to know about the future of us must engage or invest efforts. There's countries that can generate rain as we speak. The Russia war with Ukraine seems to have subsided in the look of things, but it's subsided only on the media space because they are barring the advances of Russia in that space. According to the World Food Programme, Ukraine produces 1/5 of the world's high-grade wheat and 7% of all wheat. The war in Ukraine has led to underproduction of wheat, pushing the prices and forcing us to buy bread and cooking oil at high prices. The petrodollars are not currencies, but dollars used to purchase crude oil. As we are advancing as the BRICS countries, this concept, which was generated in 1970, is now nearing its death. And that is one of the reasons why South Africa is hated with passion by the USA. Africa, in context, the new African Continental Free Trade Agreement is not exploited, is not used optimally. It has come into effect and is a game changer for the continent. South Africa, as the past chair of AU, played a critical role in formalizing this committee agreement. However, these are pressing issues affecting the peace and stability in Africa that require our attention. Income inequality. Our country's Gini index is highly unacceptable. We need to push harder to grow the economy, encourage technological innovation, entrepreneurship, and advance the ideals of a development-capable state. If you look at the complexion of the stock exchange, you realize that we are still far. The importance of city of Tshwane. Comrades, we are the capital city of the Republic. We cannot allow any party to rule and run this country. Imagine the embassy of Tanzania, imagine the embassy of Zambia, imagine the embassy of Mozambique being cut off electricity and water and going to beg from another party. That is unacceptable, and that must motivate us to work together, comrades. The renewal and the unity of the ANC is not mechanical unity of its leaders, but a unity of purpose to advance the national democratic revolution. We need to renew our movement and build strong, united, and capable ANC that can lead the country towards a brighter future. Our people are still struggling, comrades. Here in Tshwane, we've got an interesting metro. We've got deep rural in Tshwane. We've got a creme de la creme of suburban areas and everything in the middle. We need to do everything to ensure that we ameliorate the socio-economic conditions of our people. we have a responsibility to push back the frontiers of abject poverty and squalor. I'm coming to a critical component which is killing the organization silently. The organization is being targeted by local and international enemies as fake news thrives in the arena of political contestation. And in the ANC, as in all social movements, it causes confusion, mistrust, and internal divisions. Fake news is weakening the fabric of our movement. Its corrosive effects depends the cracks and disunity and factionalism. It is a reality we must be alive to and confront it with urgency. South Africa has a high concentration of smartphones, and due to our social nature, we populate and mutate unverified information through thriving social media communities on platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and X. These high-speed message vehicles have become the main carriers of misinformation, and access to the internet have been weaponized to fragment and divide the communities. Yet every ANC member should continuously be alive to this threat posed by ever-increased messages, manipulators, and planting of fake news. Comrades, I have requested you to refrain and desist yourself from retweeting information that is not verified. Fake news and disinformation have become an endemic part of politics throughout the world. The ANC must develop an education and information platform to alert our members about the threat it poses to our unity and cohesion. The numbers we are subjected to of fake news is scary, and our comrade doesn't process, they just resent. Daily we see comrades being hooked into sophisticated and sometimes clever and hidden fakes. It's relentless, and every day new fake news, disinformation are flooding our information ecosystem. We experienced in the first hand when Donald Trump, in the full glare of the world, flashed out fake information and images about a so-called white genocide in South Africa. If it can be done by the president of the most powerful country, how much more members of the ANC are going to mutate? On a lighter note, we realized that those who went to tell him the lies were car guards here in South Africa, not farmers. On the future we seek to build in Tshwane, the city remains a beacon of hope for many people. We have a responsibility as activists to create Tshwane that is only livable for residents, but a world-class African city. And we've got that capability. The SACP decision to contest elections, the implications and analysis thereof. We respect the South African Communist Party, and we are looking forward to the NEC finding an amicable solution. We will not tire to negotiate and engage our strategic alliance partners. This move has far-reaching implications for the country's political landscape, particularly in the context of African National Congress dominance and the tripartite alliance with the Congress of South African Trade Unions. We might have differed, but those differences doesn't warrant divorce. SSP decision appears to be driven by the desire to strengthen the working class in government, which is fair, aiming to advance a program of democratic power rooted in the interest of workers and poor. However, we must not contradict the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution, which aims to build a non-sexist, non-racial, and democratic society. Challenges to the dominance of the ANC. The SSCP clarification that contesting election doesn't mean they are leaving the alliance with ANC raises sharp questions and makes us to be confused and frustrated. The SACP decision is likely to strain the alliance with the ANC, particularly ANC views on SACP move to as a challenge to its authority. In the 40 years celebration of COSATU demonstrated its support for the African National Congress. We would appreciate if SACP can do the same. There are policy implications like the land reform, which doesn't sit well with the SACP, economic policy, indigenous languages, and we understand and appreciate the concerns of the SACP. As we are limping, and now we are confronted with new challenges like the MK party, I think it's not an ideal time for us to divorce each other. And I don't think there'll be an ideal time for us to divorce each other. The SACP complained about lack of implementation of policies, working class representation, neoliberal agenda. Now we have opened the conference. I think it will be important that this conference becomes a festival of ideas wherein SACP members and ourselves can engage thoroughly. And when we come up of this conference, we are on the same wavelength. In the Middle East, the USA is doing as it pleases. We all know about the 7th October 2023 attack. Comrades, as we speak, more than 45,000 people have lost their lives in Gaza due to the evil practices of Israel. Israel have killed Hamas leaders and is posing a threat on the lives of Palestinians. The escalation of Israel and Iran, which started in Damascus, which was helped by the interception of USA and the Western, have killed our brothers, our soldiers, our friends in Iran. Today in Iran, the lives have changed. Our people are living in terror and fear as a result of the bully USA led by Donald Trump. A clandestine Israel operation using explosive pages killed dozens of Hezbollah operatives in September 2024. Our country, through its bravery, and let's appreciate the National Executive Committee for going to court and fighting the Goliath. A fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah took effect in November 2027. The aim of this ceasefire is to bring stability in the region, but tensions remain high, and both sides have accused each other. When the leadership of one country uses soldiers to bar and block humanitarian help, then you must understand that this is not a war, this is an evil practice. On African continent, comrades, the Sudanese civil war, which began in 2023 April, is a brutal conflict between the Sudanese armed forces and led by General Fattah Burhan and Rapid Support Forces led by Mohammed Hamdan. The two leaders initially seized power together in 2021 during a coup, but later clashed. The key points of this conflict: the RSF has its roots in Janjaweed militants known for their role in Darfur genocide. They've been accused of war crimes, including killing women, ethnic killings, and forced displacement. Control and violence. RSF have seized control of Sudan, capital Khartoum, and much of Darfur. And this have misplaced more than 100,000 people, and the estimation of deaths is hovering around 60,000. There's a humanitarian crisis in Darfur. The international world, United States, have imposed sanctions on RSF leader Hemedi and several RSF-owned companies, accusing them of genocide. How hypocritical it is. The UAE has also been accused of supporting RSF despite denying this. Allow me to come to African politics deeper, comrades. And I'll start with Rwanda. And I'm going again to appreciate the president of the country and the president of the African National Congress, and I'll tell you why. There's evidence, empirical evidence, that Rwandan Defense Force troops are fighting alongside the M23 and controlling M23 operations. M23 uses equipment exceeding its capacities or capabilities, including drones, GPS-guided mortars, and signal jammers, which are supplied by Rwandan military tech. International condemnation comes from US, UK, France, but nothing has been done. Comrades, South Africa have deployed our soldiers for peacekeeping mission. Unfortunately, 14 of our soldiers lost their lives in that exercise. And allow me to cite the names of our sergeants and our heroes and heroines who were part of that mission. Staff Sergeant Suwatlani, Theophilus Siepe, Corporal Nivulani, Rifafen Mukiti, Joseph Mabi, Corporal Matume, Justice Malesa, Bombardier Itumeleng, McDonald Morero, Lance Corporal Tseke, Moffat Molapo, Lance Corporal Metzi, Stan Lee, Raswiswi, Private Peter Jacobs Stradom, Staff Sergeant Molatleli, Ismail Molatleli, Staff Sergeant William Eddy, Kola, Rifleman Sidiso, Andris Mabele, and Rifleman Calvin Louis Muahi. May their souls rest in peace. As Comrade Kumbuzo has said, from time to time, we are having an appetite to speak ill about our leaders. Some said President Ramaphosa deployed these soldiers for his interest. The deployment of the soldiers of South Africa for this mission came before President Ramaphosa was a president. And he's got nothing to do with the interest of the minerals of DRC. Comrades, I think it's important that I underscore this. The deployment of this mission came way before President Ramaphosa became the president. Stop lying, stop peddling lies, stop wage driving. President Ramaphosa is our president and we must respect him. Comrades, we have seen a horrible situation in Tanzania. Tanzania is one of the countries that hosted our leaders during difficult times. We've seen the protest that turned ugly after the elections. More than 1,500 people were killed during those protests. I think it's important that we learn from that. We must be able to predict what will happen and prepare ourselves for that eventuality. We must never wait for a moment where people lose their life for protesting. The government that we are having here, we got it through toy and protest. Mozambique, our neighbor, as well. 110 people were killed when they were protesting against the results. Are we learning from these horrible situations as South Africa? What do we make of these unprecedented levels of killings due to elections? African nations are seeking to maximize benefits from green mineral wealth and renewable energy resources. The African Development Bank have approved grants to strengthen disaster risk management. I want to share with you the key objectives of Africa continental free trade areas. We want to have a single market, create a single continental market for goods and services, economic integration, boost infra-Africa trade, to eliminate tariffs and non-tariff barriers to the trade, cooperation within ourselves in the region, manage and settle disputes amicably, institutional framework, discussions and engagements, and lastly, the digital trade. This will help us to have expanded market access. Our economies will grow. There will be regional value chains, and this will give us global competitiveness. Comrades, let's celebrate a milestone. The Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, called PAPS, has been established to allow payments between companies in local currencies and simplify infra-African transactions. Are you able to interpret what I'm saying? Are you having capacity to interpret what I'm saying? Perhaps let me pause and tell you what this is saying. The Pan-African Payment and Settlement System have been established to allow payments between companies in local currencies, simplify intra-African trade transactions. What does it mean? It means when I make a deal with Mozambicans, I don't need a dollar or any foreign currency. There are no interests. When I deal with Zimbabwe, buying tobacco because they are producing quality tobacco, there won't be any dollar needed. So this must be exploited by ourselves, comrades, as delegates here. These are the things that we must take home and share with our business people. South Africa is the most strategic area in the African continent, military and economically. So let's exploit that. And as I close, comrades, we as the African National Congress we are a beacon of African hope. All African countries are looking up to us for help. Let's make sure that we don't disappoint them. But illegal foreigners doesn't have a room in our country. I thank you.
Amandla. Amandla. Comrade, let me thank our regional chairperson, Comrade Eugene Bonzo Modise, for presenting a balanced report for our delegates here. Comrades, now is the time to service our stomach. Yeah, I can see the level of energy is deteriorating. Let's go and get energy. It's going to be a lunchtime, comrades, and we are going to break for an hour. So you are going to be back here at 18 hours. At 6 o'clock. Rakwana, my comrade. Lunch will be served there. You see where I'm pointing there. When you leave here, you just go straight where I'm pointing. You'll find lunch there. Members, our comrades in this table, in front there, they will have to go straight there. And it will be a working lunch for the credential committees, as they will be receiving a credential report. So they don't have time to relax. Comrades, I discipline. Yeah, comrades, I've never adjourned. This meeting is still in process. I can see comrades hurry up to go and service their stomach. But comrades will come back at 6 o'clock. Go well until we meet.